Hey everybody, it's Troy with eBuzz Central. Today we're taking a look at Garuda Linux Harpy Eagle in the Gnome desktop environment. But before we get started, please do me a favor. Like, subscribe, or follow my channel. It doesn't cost anything, and if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. If you like the channel and enjoy the videos that we produce, you can support us by becoming a member to the channel, buying us a cup of coffee, or better yet, becoming a patron to the channel over on Patreon. Those links will be in the description below. Garuda Linux. First thing we're going to do is we're going to zip on over to their website, garudalinux.org. They have a very stunning website. It's a very beautiful, well laid out website. Up top, you've got download, forum, about, donate, and services. Over on the left, you've got downloads, GitLab, you've got Telegram, Twitter, Facebook. And then if you scroll down, it gives you different spotlights covering the Linux distributions, the BTRFS file system, or BetterFS or ButterFS, whatever you might call it. And Garuda Assistant, that's a very powerful tool I'm going to show you here in a second. And then you scroll down and you've got a little bit more information that you can get from them. If you want to zip on over to the website, I'll be sure to include that link in the description below. Another thing I want to show you is on FireDragon's web browser. That's what they're calling it. It is a fork of Firefox. They've got different services that they offer here. The first one is your privacy-respecting meta search engine, which is SearX. So when you do a search, it is completely private search. I can do a search for eBuzz Central, and it'll pop up and let you know there's eBuzz Central, where it pulled it from, Google. Most of that is Google, and it's cached, and you don't get any ads, you don't get any crap all over your screen, for lack of a better way of saying it. Then you can go back, and then you've got Google, a privacy-respecting Google search engine. You can go over here, and you can even do the same search over here, eBuzz Central. And it gives you a little cleaner look than SearX does. But as you can see, it keeps all the crap out of your way. You don't have a bunch of ads over on the right and click-throughs. And then you don't have a bunch of sponsored ads above the search that you just did. So I'm going to go ahead and close back out of that. And then you've got Garuda Cloud, your open source cloud solution, which is basically Nextcloud. You can put in your username or password, or you can log in with a device. So that gives you another way to get on the cloud on Linux. Bitwarden, which is a self-hosted password storage, and then uptime monitoring, private bin, CryptPad, and then of course you've got the official Garuda forum, where if you should have any problems, you can zip on over there and get them taken care of, and then Telegram, Twitter, and Matrix using Element. This is bridged with Telegram. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of FireDragon. So if you download Garuda, throw it on a USB, put it into a virtual machine, and boot into it, this is the screen you're met with. Now as you can see, it's not as colorful as it used to be in the past. They used to use some neon icons. They still do on the KDE version, which is dragonized. But GNOME has really been changed up here a little bit. You've got much cleaner looking icons down here, more professional looking. And then of course you get welcomed with the Garuda Welcome. This is just letting you know it's a rolling released, fast, friendly, and performance focused OS. Garuda is loaded with amazing tools and supported by a great community. There I can't argue. They do have a tremendous community behind this distribution. I've actually considered switching over to it a number of times. Just haven't got up the time or wanted to put in that effort yet. When you get comfortable with an OS, it's hard to jump sometimes, and I spent many hours distro hopping. So first thing we're going to do is go into the Garuda Welcome screen, and it's going to give you tools right off the bat. First one is your Garuda Assistant. Let's go ahead and open that up. And your Garuda Assistant here gives you a plethora of ways to do things on your system. First of all, you've got your system update. You've got your refresh mirror list. This is something you want to do right off the bat, especially after a fresh install, because the first thing you're going to want to start doing is updating your system and also at the same time downloading applications that you can use on that system. You need to refresh your mirror list. What that does is it's going to update and give you the most recent and quickest ways to download the software you're looking for, so that way it won't take as long. Then, of course, you can refresh your key rings, remove orphan files. It'll go over here and let you know you just scan your database, you hit enter. What that's going to do is if you've downloaded an app in the past and you've used it and you've decided you don't need it anymore and you decide to remove it from your system, what that'll do is it'll take any files that were being used by that app that have been orphaned and have no reason to be on your system anymore and get rid of them. Then you've got your remove database lock, reinstall all packages. If you should experience some kind of issues, you can go over there and all the packages you have installed on your system, if you click on reinstall, it'll refresh them all, reinstall them, and make sure that there's no problems there. Then you can edit repositories. That's a way for you to basically go in and add repositories that you get software and applications from. Like you've got the testing repository, it's off, core, extra, community testing. If you wanted that repository, you could just click it on. And then multi-lib testing, and you can just take those options right there, figure out what you want. And if you don't want the testing to even be on your system, you can come over here, hit the little trash can, and you can get rid of it totally. So let's go ahead and close out of that. Clear package cache, and then clear caches. And then down here, you can reset configurations on any specific application that you would want. Alacrity, Fish, Pulse Audio, Variety, LibreOffice, MPV. If you've got problems with the config file in a certain application, all you have to do is come down here, click on MPV. Let's say you're having a problem with it, and then reset selected configs. It'll reset it, and it should go back to working, and then you can make the changes that you want to it. The BTRFS file system. Some people like this system, some people don't. I kind of like it. I'm running it on an older laptop, and it seems to be doing quite well. You've got BTRFS trim enabled. If you're not familiar with trim, that is a utility that comes in handy if you're using an SSD. What it does is basically keeps your SSD clean and extends the life of your SSD. BTRFS balance enabled, defrag enabled, scrub enabled, Snapper timeline enabled. Snapper, let's click on it. Snapper right here. Once you get your system completely set up the way you want it, apps downloaded, all your settings the way you want, you're going to want to zip on over to Snapper. Click on New Snapshot. Basically what that's going to do is make a snapshot of your system. So that way in the future, should you have any issues, you can come over here and restore from a snapshot, and it'll return your system to a place and time where everything was perfect and running the way you want to. Now, I have had questions in the past when I've brought up Snapper or Time Shift of people saying, well, if I have a catastrophic failure, how am I going to get in there and be able to restore it? Real simple. If you decide to install this, you're going to burn it to a USB. Keep that USB. If you do have an issue, you can boot into that USB and use it as a rescue USB. Go into your Garuda Assistant, go over and restore a snapshot, pick the snapshot off your system, and you'll be up and going before you know it. So let's go to System Components. Right here, this lets you know out of the box that Garuda is using Pipewire support as opposed to Pulse Audio. Settings. Right now, the default shell is Bash. You can change that if you wanted to. I recommend you don't, but if you are a power user and somebody that's very familiar with Linux and Arch, you can come over here and do whatever you need to do right there. Install default shell configs, and then performance tweaks over here. ZRAM generator, profile sync. You got a lot of different options you can adjust here. So we'll go to System Specs, and this just gives you a breakdown of your system specs, what kernel you're using. We're presently using 5.14.14-Zen 1, Arch Linux, machine, VirtualBox, of course, battery, sanitation, graphics, audio network. Just gives you your base information. So I'm going to go ahead and close out a Garuda Assistant. If you have any questions about what we just went over right here, please drop them in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Now we've got Garuda Settings Manager, and this goes over hardware configuration, your kernel, language packs, user accounts, time and date, keyboard settings, locale settings. Pretty much right here, if you go to hardware configuration, you open this up. We are presently in a VirtualBox. If you are using a machine that has an NVIDIA graphics card or AMD graphics card, you can come over here. This is where you install the drivers for those. It would list NVIDIA. Let's say this right here was the NVIDIA graphics card. You would just right click on it. It says remove, reinstall. Well, if it hasn't been installed, you can just come down here, click install, and it will install your NVIDIA drivers for you, and you'll be good to go. So let's go back to all settings. And then, of course, kernel. Right now, we're running the 5.14 Zen, of course. It's recommended and installed. You can refresh this. You can also download the updated kernel if you want, and this would be the area you come over here, and you could actually install it. Language packs is pretty self-explanatory. User accounts, time and date, keyboard settings, and locale settings. So let's go ahead and quit. Garuda Gamer. If you like to game on Linux, Garuda gives you many different ways to take care of things right out of the box. I'm going to go ahead and maximize this because there's so much here. Now, if you're somebody that wants to install Steam, you can come over here, click on Steam. Now, if you want runtime, you'd click that. If you wanted native, you could click that. And then it's got a lot of other things listed here. You've got Pegasus front end, you've got Lutris. Let's say you wanted Lutris. Gamer World, play it. And then down here, you've got Wine. And you'd want Proton because you're getting Steam. Proton Tricks, Wine Tricks. It's got bottles. It's got Q4 Wine. Basically, you go down through here and set up everything that you want. Okay, controller support, Stream Link for Twitch. You would just go down here, check mark everything that you wanted, click apply down here in the lower right, and it would install all of these applications all at once. So that means you wouldn't have to go online, find it, or go into the software center and find it and install them one at a time. You can do it all at once, and that makes things way easier, especially if you're into gaming. Now go over to games. Right here, you've got some games listed here. You can go down through all of these. It's got shooters, strategy games, tycoon, simulation, stealth. You could just go down through here. Let's say you wanted some of these games. Just click on them. Just like before, click on everything you want. Come down here to the bottom right, click apply, and it would install them all at once. Makes things really easy. And then emulators. You've got Dolphin emulator, you've got MAME emulator, PCS X2, Stella, DuckStation. So I mean pretty much any emulator that's out there. You could come over here, let's see, Mupen 64, Sega Genesis, Dolphin, PS3. And then if that's what you wanted, just come down here to the bottom, click apply, and it installs all those emulators all at once. So this is definitely, if you're a gamer, something that makes things a lot easier for you and a lot easier to get started. So we'll go ahead and close out of that. Garuda Network Assistant, should you have any network issues, you can go there. Garuda Boot Options, Garuda Boot Repair. I do recommend that once you get your system set up, you zip on over to Boot Repair, and what you're going to want to do is do a backup and apply, and it'll back it up, save it to your system. And then should you have any problems in the future, you can reinstall your grub, you can repair your grub, or you can restore it. That gives you several different options right there to make sure that everything is backed up and safe. So I'm going to close out of that. And then you've got your partition manager, add and remove software. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Scoot this over, and I'm going to go ahead and go full screen on this. First thing you're going to want to do in here is go over here where you see the three dots. Now if you download a different version of Garuda, this will be a hamburger menu, but click there. Go down to Preferences, and once that pops up, go over to Third Party. What you're going to want to do here is make sure that AUR support is enabled, and it's got check for updates, and then check for developmental package updates. Make sure both of those are checked. Then you can go back to General, and everything looks good. Let's go ahead and close out of that. And then you've got different categories you can look up over here. Photo and video, music and audio, productivity, games, or you could do something like a simple search right here. But because I'm running this in a virtual box, I haven't refreshed my mirror list, so I'm not going to be able to really do any searches, but you can see what is installed, repositories, and AUR. That's just something that makes installing software really easy. Kind of like Synaptic Package Manager, you would just come up here, do your search, it would give you the list down here, click on it, and it would install. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And then you've got System Cleaner, Quick Access, Restore Snapshot, and then chroot, and then install Garuda Linux. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of the Garuda Welcome. Now back to the GNOME desktop. You've got one panel up top right here. It's got battery, sound, and internet. And if you come to the center, you've got your calendar and notifications. Right here we have some VirtualBox notifications that we will get rid of. All your notifications will be right here, and then of course your calendar's right here. I do love the font that they use on the calendar. And then over to the left, you've got activities. And then when you come down, you've got your Garuda Welcome that we just looked at. It stays on the dock for you. And then you've got terminal. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the terminal. Let's pull it over here. On your NeoFetch, you've got Garuda Linux VirtualBox 5.14. How many packages you have installed? 1,086. You're running a Bash 5.1.8 shell. Your resolution, window manager is Mutter. Window manager theme is Adwaita. Then your icons, terminal, and then your system information, and then memory. Right now it says we're using 1.2 gigabytes of the 4 gigs that I have issued to the machine, but you do have to take into account that some of the operating system is running inside that RAM, so that'll be lower once you install it. So let's go ahead and close out a terminal. And then FireDragon is the web browser. We looked at that already. And then your file manager. Let's open that up. File manager opens up. I do like their file manager on here. It is just very clean, sharp, concise. You've got your usual suspects over here. You got your normal home folders right here. And then of course you can make those folders bigger if you would like. Come over here, click on your arrow down. You can make them bigger or you can make them smaller. So that's up to you. It's just a light, fast file manager that lets you get things done and stays out of your way. So let's go ahead and close out of that. Go back down here. You've got your text editor. You've got your system monitor. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's go full screen. Right here it shows you the processes that you have going on right now. Nothing major. It's all operating system wise. Unlike Windows, you don't have a lot of telemetry running in the background. And then resources, it's got 2 CPUs. At present, it's using about 15 to 20% of the CPUs and 1.4 gigabytes of the 4 that I have issued to it. But like I said, some of the operating system is running in RAM, so that will definitely be lighter once installed. And then your file systems. So let's go ahead and close out of that. You have settings. Start up top, you've got your network, which is your wired connection. Then you've got your Bluetooth, background. If you wanted to change your background, this is where you would do it. Once you install this, you will get more choices for backgrounds, but on the live USB or in a virtual machine, they give you the one. And then notifications, you can adjust which applications you're going to receive notifications from. If there are some here you don't want to receive notifications from, you can just click on over and turn them off. That's up to your personal preference. And then search. Right now the search runs on files, add and remove software, calculator, and terminal. And then you have your applications. Right here, add and remove software, advanced, it just goes through all of your applications and it lets you know that search is turned on, notifications are turned on. Let's go to cheese. Notifications are turned on. If you don't want to get notifications from cheese, just shut them off and then go back and you're good to go. And then you've got your privacy, location services are turned off, and then camera, no applications have asked for camera access. Right here, this is where you come in and if you download applications, they may say, we need access to your camera or microphone. This is where you control that after install, so that way you know your privacy is being respected. Online accounts, you can set up your Google, Nextcloud, Facebook, Microsoft account, Flickr, Foursquare, Microsoft Exchange. Now, if you do set up your Google and Microsoft and you have email through them, the email client that comes with Garuda Gnome will automatically use those accounts. Then you've got sharing, sound, power, displays, mouse and touchpad, and keyboard. So we will go ahead and close out of that. And then you have your Garuda Assistant, which we looked at a while ago. And let's go ahead and look at our other applications. Add and remove software, advanced network, Alacrity, disks, Garuda C-Root, Garuda boot options, fish, firmware, Garuda Gamer we've looked at, cheese, Garuda System, G Smart Control, HTOP, image viewer, install Garuda Linux, MPV media player, pace, reboot to UEFI, Wi-Fi hotspot, and then tweaks. Let's take a look at tweaks. Tweaks let you customize a little further than what the regular GNOME settings do. Right here in general, you can turn animations on or off. Suspend when laptop lid is closed, you can turn that on or off. And then over amplification, if you want to be able to run your volume higher than 100%, you would come over here, turn that on, and you'd be good to go. And then your appearance, themes for applications, cursors, icons, background images, lock screen. You can adjust everything from right here. I'm going to leave that be at the moment. And then fonts. Right now we're running a certain font that is size 11. Let's say you wanted your interface text to be a little bigger. Just click on that. Go over here and let's bump that up to 13 and select. And as you can see, all the fonts got bigger and it's easier to see. Then you can adjust your hinting, your anti-aliasing, and then your scaling factor. If you wanted your scaling factor to be a little lower, you could lower it or run it up. So that's up to you. Keyboard and mouse, startup applications right here. If you happen to download an application and you find out after you've downloaded it, it's automatically starting when you start your PC up. You can come over here and say, hey, I want to remove that. Click remove, and it will no longer do it after you reboot. Top bar, we got the activities overview hot corner, which is this right here. When you push it, it comes up like that. Now, if you don't want that activities hot corner, you could actually come over here and turn that off if you wanted to, and then apply, and it would change. And then on your clock, it's showing the weekday. You could set it to show date. You could also set it to show seconds. I'm going to go ahead and click that off. We don't need all that. And then week numbers on the calendar. You could turn that on, and then when you opened your calendar up, it would show you it's the 44th week, 45th, 46th, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and click that off. Window title bars. Right here, you've got your window title bar. It's a double click to maximize, double click to minimize. Now, if you're the kind of person that uses that top bar to do that, and you don't want these extra buttons, you could actually shut those off, and then those buttons disappear. But if you want to keep them, you can just leave that on. And then if you wanted to move the buttons over to the left side, you could just move them over to the left side and not miss a beat. And then Windows, and then Workspaces. So we will go ahead and close out of that. And Reflector Simple, Setup Assistant, Software Tokens, and so on and so forth. And then if you do right-click on the home screen, you can change background, display settings, and then your settings. So that is Garuda Gnome. What do you think? Is it something you might download, throw on a USB, or put in a virtual machine and give a test drive? Let me know in the comments below. Before you leave today, do me a favor. Please like, subscribe, or follow my channel. It doesn't cost anything, and if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. If you like the channel and enjoy the videos that we're producing, you can support us by becoming a member to the channel here, buying us a cup of coffee, or better yet, becoming a patron to the channel over on Patreon. Those links will be in the description below. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in the next video.